Okay guys, so a lot of people ask the same question is, what is the best online business to start? Is it something, should they start selling stuff on Amazon, eBay? Should they not even go that route? Should they just sell stuff on Craigslist and Facebook and offer up? Should they create a website, do YouTube videos? And that's the hardest thing to answer, because for me, I know what I do. I do pretty much all that stuff, plus a little more. But I know what I do, and it takes a lot of work. It took a lot of time to build it. So I can't give you that exact answer. All I can tell you is kind of what I do, how I do it, and it's up to you to decide, is that a right fit for you, or should you do something completely different? Now, I don't know the answer. All I know is that what works for me and why I continue to do it, the stuff that doesn't work for me, I stop. I either stop or I slowly let it just die out, because if it's still making me a little money, I might keep going with it. There's some websites that keep making me a little bit of money here and there, so I keep them. But usually when I see something that isn't working, I slowly get away from that. So I can only give you my personal experience with all the different businesses, but it's up to you to decide which one will work best for you. So what I want to do right now is I actually want to talk about some of those businesses that I run, that like I said in the previous clip, that I can tell you what I do, kind of how I do it, and kind of get you to the next step. But I can't tell you need to do this. This is what I did. This is what you need to do. You're gonna make the most money with it. I can't tell you that because I don't know that for sure. Now, later on, I have a few things I got going on just a little bit. So later on, I plan on doing another like a short clip I'm gonna add to this video, talking about Amazon FBA and just some tips I have for you guys to really get you going. Because that's, I can't tell you what to buy. I can tell you what stores to go to because they have so many things, or I can tell you how to get the cheapest price. I can't tell you go buy this item because I don't know what the price is at your store. I don't know if it's even available. Okay, so with that said, I can't tell you how to run your Amazon FBA business, but I can give you tips and advice on how to better prepare for that business, or how to find more inventory. So just know, or you can skip ahead to that part in the video. I'm not sure where it will be, but it will be in the end. So what I actually wanted to do in this clip, I want to answer a question somebody asked on Facebook. Let me get to it. The question was, through running so many businesses, do you find it hard to manage each one? So that I want to try and tie that into the last clip that I did, talking about whatever it was, I don't remember now, but I know it ties in. So how do I manage so many businesses? The key to my business is I don't manage them all. I manage the majority, or I have like the umbrella company, and then below it are people that actually manage them. So I actually have managers that manage different businesses. As far as my Amazon FBA business, I pretty much run that and manage that completely. I do have people inside my businesses so I have virtual assistants that actually feed me lists of profitable items I can buy online, have them shipped to certain companies, and then those companies ship them off to Amazon. So I never really touch the items. And then I do retail arbitrage, I do thrifting, I do all that stuff. So in that sense, I'm pretty much the manager doing that. As far as my websites, I have an actual manager that manages pretty much all my websites, and she pretty much just tells me, okay, this site's doing this or this. We've seen a decline in traffic over the month. It could be because of these reasons, and we kind of just brainstorm from there what's going on. How can we get back up in the search engines? Things like that. So am I doing all the work? No, I have a team of people that actually are managing a lot of the stuff for me. As far as my merch by Amazon account, it's pretty much just me. I have someone that does the designs, and then I go and adjust them and do some tweaks, and I do that. As far as somebody that manages the whole thing, I don't have that because that business is not, it's not as big as some of my other ones, but it also doesn't require as much time. It's kind of like my Kindle publishing business. I have people that work inside of it as far as do the content creation, do some outreach to try to get people to download the book, maybe do a review, you know, things like that. But as far as actually, you know, coming up with the you know, topic, finding keywords, that's mostly me. But I do have people that I can turn to if I want to outsource that aspect of the business. So that is how I manage all the different businesses. I know I didn't touch on every single one, but that's how I do it, is I outsource. It's something I've learned very early on, is that if I can't outsource, then I'm not going to be as effective as I could be, because there's certain things that I could do myself. So as far as editing videos, that's something that I've been outsourcing for probably 2 years at least. And then just recently I actually sat down with somebody, taught me how to edit the videos, and not to the extreme. For me to edit a video, I could sit down, pull all the clips and edit it probably within, you know, 2 to 5 minutes. Before it was taking me about a half an hour just because I couldn't figure it all out. And so at that time, it's like a half an hour, it's not worth my time, I'm not even going to deal with it. And so then I started paying somebody else to do all the video editing for me. So as far as that, you know, that's something that I outsourced and actually brought back because I figured out how to do it. So, you know, it's important that you not only understand your skills and what you know how to do, your experience, and how comfortable you are doing those things, but it's also important to understand that there's people out there that are far better at doing things than you might be. You just gotta find them, you gotta negotiate your price, and then hire them. Hiring people is a very, very important part of my business. I hate hiring people, and I also hate firing people, but that's part of it. There's, you know, it's a give and take. You have to be able to hire somebody and hire the right person. At the same time, you have to be able to know when that hire was not the right one, and you gotta let that person go. You gotta have tough skin. You gotta know, you know, this, I'm doing this for my business. I'm doing it for the good of the company. I'm not doing it because I just don't like that person. Okay, so and that makes it tough because you can't have, I only have really one employee right now, and it's hard because if you let that person go and you're responsible for their entire income, or, you know, putting food on their table or a roof over their head, it's hard. Because if you become friends with them, and, you know, like, you know, we sit down all the time, we're always working, if that's the case, you start to, you know, get a relationship with this person. And so if you were to ever let them go, it's hard. That's why you gotta have tough skin. So just want to let you guys know about that. But I got an appointment I gotta get to right now. I'll be back on in a little while, and we're gonna touch on a couple other things, and I'm also gonna talk about Amazon FBA and some tips for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so that appointment actually went a little longer than expected, but for you guys it was probably just a second or two. Anyway, one of the other questions that was asked on Facebook is, if I had to start my whole business all over again, what would I do differently? And I know I've answered this before, maybe not in extreme detail, but I have answered this before. What I would do differently is, first off, I'd network a lot more. And the reason for that is because, and so you guys here on YouTube, you guys ask me certain questions. You guys want, these are questions that you guys want to know that maybe I'm not talking about, and in some cases maybe I don't know. When I first started, so over on my Dorm Room Cash YouTube channel, which it's still up, there's still videos on there. As far as my website, it's down. I just don't do anything with it anymore. But from that channel I learned a lot, because people would ask questions. You know, some of you guys have been following me from that channel, and you're over here on this one, which is great, which is awesome. But other people never saw that channel. But that channel was where I was learning a lot. I was learning how to create websites. I was learning how to be an entrepreneur, how to start from nothing and build it up to, you know, what I have now. And that's something that, you know, networking is what got me to where I am today. And I'm not talking about networking going out to conferences and doing all that stuff. I meet people at conferences and you know, it's fun and it's great and all, but where I get the most value is from you guys here on YouTube or people on Facebook or social media. People are talking to me about and asking questions, you know, about what I do and why I do it or how I do it, and, you know, have you ever thought about this or that? And it gets me to think, oh, you know, that is actually a great idea. Maybe if I made that, you know, small little adjustment to my business, it might increase what I'm making, or I might get more traffic, or I might be able to sell a product for more, or just, you know, so many things. But that's what I think is the biggest factor is in building a business, is if you network. You know, so people here on YouTube, let's say you're another video creator. If you networked with other people such as myself, or, you know, it doesn't really matter who, but you're out there making videos and they're making videos and you collab and you do all this stuff, you're networking, your audience is going to grow that much faster. That's the same thing with websites, with blogs, with a social media account. If you start interacting, you start, you know, talking to the audiences and do that stuff. Networking is a great way to build whatever it is. Even if you just go and network with just random people. Maybe you're living in a new city and you want to meet people. Go to a meet and greet, you're just networking, and you build a relationship. You start to get friends. That's the beauty of this business, and that's why I think networking is something that I would change, because I didn't do it in the beginning. I thought, and at the time, this was back in 2006. At the time, so that's over 10 years ago right now. But at that time, there was a lot of scams going on. And when I first told people, like friends of mine, what I do and that I work online, every single one of them thought, what, you're doing porn? You know, you're making, you know, sex tapes? No, that's not all that is online. And at that time, that's what most people thought, is the internet is pretty much only, you know, you're making porn. That's the only way you can make money online. You know, no one knew any other way to make money other than you make porn. That's it. That was not what I was doing. It's still not what I do. But at that time, I couldn't network with people really online because it was one of those things. Only a certain amount of people knew that you could make money online. Okay, so nowadays everybody's doing it. Everyone can make money. It's not as hard as some people once thought. And so networking, in my opinion, is the one thing I would have changed. I think that's where I made a mistake, and, you know, I learned from it. Now I'm doing a lot more networking, making, you know, better money. And so, you know, obviously times have changed, but at the same time, I think today, if I were to start all over again, I would network more. That would be the one key, because not only, you know, in the beginning, I was looking for people to kind of mentor me and get me off the ground, and it happened in websites, and because I had a cousin that actually, you know, taught me how to do a lot of stuff. But if I didn't have him and I had to network outside of, you know, like my family, that would have been the hard part. Is I don't know how receptive people would have been, and I don't know if I would have grown like I did. But now, the great thing about it now is that there's so many people out there. So you guys send me comments. If you guys have questions, comment below. But if, you know, with that said, if you guys comment, I'm gonna try to answer that comment. And so we're pretty much networking, you know, right there. So by networking, you're eliminating the learning curve that comes with every business, which is key, because if you can eliminate that learning curve with anything that you do, that frees up your time to do something else, to learn a new skill, to learn or improve on a skill that you already have. So I think that's very important. But so I'm gonna leave you with that. Like I said, probably in just a little bit, I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk about a couple tips I got for you guys for Amazon FBA, and also making it a passive income, because I think so many people are at the point where they're making good money, but they're spending too much time actually sourcing the product. So how do you make that a passive or semi-passive income? So we're going to talk about that in just a second. Okay, so like I said, I want to talk to you about a couple tips to really grow your Amazon FBA business. One thing I highly recommend, and I don't talk about this enough, is that I grew my business by outsourcing most of it. There isn't one thing in my Amazon FBA business that I have not outsourced. I've outsourced everything from sourcing to listing to prepping and shipping. I've outsourced the list prep. People that I've hired over in the Philippines, taught them software, and they pretty much create these lists for me of great products to buy. That's something that I've done, and I think it's really important. If you can afford it, which if you can't afford it, you can't really afford to grow your business. But outsource, hire the right people. If you can do that, I guarantee you're going to grow your business. One tip that I have for you to make your Amazon FBA passive is to outsource, but outsource into the right people, to the right direction. Go wholesale or go private label. If you can do one of those two or both, I guarantee you're going to see a lot more success a little bit faster, and it's going to be easier on you. You don't have to run every single aspect of your Amazon business. So with that said, outsource. I guarantee it. You'll be happier, you'll be more successful, and you can live the life that you want to live. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, click that button, subscribe today, and I'll see you guys on the next video.